What's good, Summoners? A lot of times in Summoner's War, we can get blinded by how many stars a monster has, wanting to summon the rarest and coolest looking monsters and create teams with those cool monsters and the hardest to find to kind of brag and feel good about ourselves. But sometimes those lowly 2-star monsters actually might be worth a second look until we get those beautiful Nat 5s. Not only are they easy to obtain and farm out, but because of that, skilling them is so much easier and faster than rare monsters, which can make them more powerful than unskilled Nat 4 and 5s. Awakening costs are also cheaper, and these monsters will usually take you through the mid-game into the early end game based on just those high skill ups. Today we'll be going over the 5 best 2-star monsters in my opinion. Starting off with the Wind Warbear Ramagos. Aside from looking pretty badass, if I do say so myself, Ramagos is an HP-based monster, wind monster, that for beginners will not only be a powerhouse, but is easy to rune since he can get away with 3 sets of energy runes prioritizing percent HP. Boasting an attack bar debuff, a self-heal, and a huge one-shottable nuke, this tough bugger will carry you a long way if you give him attention. His third skill, the Giant Nuke, once he gets awakened will be unlocked, and it has the potential to one-shot monsters, even severely, 2-shot certain bosses. That's kind of his role, to wait for that ability to come off cooldown and take someone out while being able to keep himself alive until that cooldown refreshes. You can easily take this guy to about 5 stars and not feel bad about it. Next we have the Water Howl Lulu. This little girl is a healing powerhouse, boasting 2 potent heals that also remove negative effects. This has earned Lulu the nickname of the poor man's Chasun or Chasan. With maxed skills, Lulu will heal 3 out of 4 turns. Think about that. 75% of her turns she'll be healing you. That's incredible. Early game, she can act as a soul healer in dungeons and keep the entire team alive, and because of her ability kit, all you need to worry about is HP and speed since she's not doing much but healing people, meaning Swift and Energy are the go-to runes, and honestly, I find that if Lulu had stats befitting a Nat 4 or 5, she would probably be competitive for other teams and for endgame teams, but alas, she doesn't have Nat 4 or 5 stats, and so she will be outclassed eventually when the Nat 4 or 5 get the skill ups to compete with her. Speaking of healers, we have the Water Garuda Konamiya. Now, this bird fights against Lulu for the spot of Cleanser on a team. His third ability, Peace, is a party-wide cleanse and heal combination, and this fulfills that role of Cleanser, but his other abilities are much more offensive or support-based, as opposed to Lulu being strictly defensive on the healing spectrum. Konamiya's attack has a chance to stun, and his Resurge ability gives another monster a free turn and boosts their attack. He works well with another healing monster or another supporting monster, which could be Lulu, but then that would devalue both of their abilities to cleanse. There are only so many negative effects to cleanse in any given run. I personally run Konamiya with Swift and Focus and prioritize speed, HP, and accuracy to make sure those stuns hit. It's just a great monster and just a great monster to use when you only need a little bit of healing, and when you're manually controlling your monsters, being able to choose the monster that gets the additional turn is incredibly powerful. Fourth, we have the freebie, the Fire Hellhound Seek. Every player is given one of these for free when starting out the game, and in the beginning, he will actually carry you for quite a bit. He attacks very hard, but as you get more monsters, you find out that Seek's damage is quite average, but his survivability is terrible. He's a bit of a glass cannon, but where Seek really starts to shine is in his group-wide attack and crit buff. Because his HP and defense are so low, it's not worth trying to cover the weaknesses with runes, so Swift and Blade works early until you can do Swift and Will, maybe. The point being to be fast enough to get the buffs on your monsters before the other monsters actually attack, so they can get the benefits of those buffs, and the immunity from will keep you alive in order to do so. I've seen people run him with Fatal Blade, but I just don't see the point. If you want to run him as a straight-up attacker, there are better, more survivable monsters that will fulfill that role better. If you want to bring Seek, I would suggest bringing him as an aggressive party buff or not at all. Seek is a very strange monster, though, that while he can't carry a fight, the buff is so powerful that it will speed up the timings of runs that you can already complete. So he's kind of like a win more monster. Last, and certainly not least, the Wind Pixie, Shannon. What can you really say about Shannon? I would almost recommend that no matter who you are, or where you are in this game, that you have a 6-star Shannon. This is a staple in most Giants 10 teams. She is the definition of a true support. She has no healing, but she has an enemy attack debuff, an enemy attack slow, and a party-wide attack and defensive buff. Everything she does is incredible. She multiplies the effectiveness of your team. You might not think she's powerful, but leveling her up and putting her on your team, you're going to be able to do things that you weren't able to do before. I personally find her a little bit fragile, so I use energy and swift to keep her fast and tank her up a little bit, and I prioritize speed, HP, and accuracy. Accuracy is more important in the mid to end game, and you will be using her in the mid to end game, so get those because you don't want to miss your debuffs, right? You have 2 abilities that will affect the enemy, so get that accuracy up. You know, it's really hard to say enough good things about Shannon. She can be the difference between being stuck on Giants to being able to clear them easily. She's a great asset to any summoner, and if you just Google Shannon, you're going to find so much love, and she kind of teaches summoners early on that while it might not be glamorous to be a support monster or even a fairy, that supports really run the show in Summoners War, and this is one of the best. So, I hope this all helps. This was a set of 5 of the best 2-star monsters in the game. Don't overlook them, and if for some reason you're lagging behind and not making much progress in the mid-game, meaning you aren't doing Giants 10, take a look at these guys. It's much easier to skill them up, a much lower investment than trying to roll and skill up a Nat 4 or 5. Take it easy, guys.